All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm David Grace with the Grace to Catch YouTube channel, going over my top 10 college football preseason rankings. This list came out a couple of days ago in the annual top 25 college football rankings. I'm doing my list and my agreements and disagreements with these teams. Started out at number 1, Alabama. Of course, they always get that right because Alabama, they have the best coach in college football history. They always have the top recruits in college football. And to me, just top to bottom, their system, how they always just trample over the SEC, it is just no question, no doubt that Alabama should be number 1. Number 2, Ohio State. They always are number 2 compared to Alabama. Urban Meyer is always the second best to Nick Saban. They always have the second best recruiting class, the second best roster. I think with JT Barrett being the most experienced quarterback, even though he did have a horrendous Orange Bowl performance, I do think that he will have a bounce back year with the new offensive coordinator coming in from Rutgers. I do think that Ohio State will have a tremendous year, especially with losing so many players to the draft in 2016, that these new starters will have more experience underneath their belt, and I do think that their defense will step up. Now, my first disagreement, number 3, they had Florida State. I completely disagree with that. My rankings, I have USC. What Sam Darnold did in the Rose Bowl, I know the media is completely just salivating at the mouth at Sam Darnold, but it is true. They have Sam Darnold, Ronald Jones is a complete, I think is the best running back quarterback duo in the entire college football, in anywhere in the ACC PAC 10, whatever. It's the best in college football with Ronald Jones, Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold is just it's the best pro-ready quarterback, and what he did in the Rose Bowl just solidified that, and they still have a great roster intact, a great defense intact. Number 3 is where they deserve, especially after winning the Rose Bowl. Number 4, I have Penn State moving up for number 6 in the AP Top 25. From 6 to 4, I think the way they played in the Rose Bowl deserves for them to be in the top 5. Beating Ohio State deserves for them to be in the top 5, with McSorley and Stephon Barkley having the best running back in college football. That deserves to be in the top 5. Florida State, Clemson. I'm disagreeing with those two based on these two things because of experience. I'm not completely sold on Clemson's experience. They did win the national championship, but look at what they lost. They lost the best quarterback in college football in Deshaun Watson. They lost Leggett. They lost Piron. They lost Mike Williams. What is a young quarterback who's never started a game supposed to do with that? I think having them ranked in the top 5 is absolutely ludicrous. Moving on to number 5 on my list, I have Florida State. I think that is completely reasonable. I'm a huge Darwin James fan. Friends of all, I'm a huge fan of him. I think he has potential. I think he can make it in the National Football League. But with Dalvin Cook leaving and Rudolph leading 2 leaders in your locker room, and defense having some spotty issues, and O-line also being spotty at times, D-line also losing a few players in the draft as well. Florida State at number 5, I think that's a respectable place for them, especially how they got absolutely destroyed by Louisville. I think that put a really, really bad taste in my mouth, especially with them being ranked so highly in AP Top 25 polls. I think that really exposed them. Number 6, I do have Clemson. Clemson, I do not want to put you outside the top 10 because you are the national champions, but I have them at 6 solely on losing Deshaun Watson, Leggett, Mike Williams. That's just so much offensive firepower. There's so many players that won in the draft, and Piron also went to the Redskins. There's so many offensive firepower that a quarterback could just have at his disposal, especially in a spread offense. But as a quarterback who's never started a game that Clemson has in a situation right now, it's going to be hard for them to adjust. They will struggle late. I don't know if they're going to lose games early, but I think they will struggle on early. I think number 6 is a fair spot for Clemson, especially after losing Deshaun Watson. Number 7, I have Oklahoma. I think that's a fair spot. The AP Top 25 has it at 7, and my top 10, I have them at 7. Baker Mayfield is the best gunslinger in college football. He's not the best quarterback or the most accurate, but he's just the way he can make plays. He's a more accurate, more disciplined Patrick Mahomes. Let that sink in for a little bit. He did lose Joe Mixon. He did lead D.D. Westbrook, but I have complete faith in Baker Mayfield's ability to make talent around him better, and just as a gunslinger, just to carry the Oklahoma Sooners. Just to keep him in the top 10 and to make a top recognizable bowl game. Number 8, I have Washington. I think that is a fair poll. Washington, a lot of people want to see them in the top 5. I don't see that. Jake Browning, are you sold on Jake Browning? Me, myself, I'm not sold on him. You lost John Ross, your best receiver. On the defensive side of the ball, you lost Jones, King, Buda Baker. Are you that confident in Jake Browning to keep you in the game after losing his best receiver? I'm not, especially after losing so many pieces on the defensive side of the ball, especially secondary pieces. A lot of Washington's games could be shootouts. You never know that. But as Jake Browning, am I confident in that, in him, in late games, big, against top 10, top 15 teams? Am I confident in that? No, absolutely not. Maybe next year in a senior year, maybe we can have a different conversation. Number 9 on the AP top 25, they had Wisconsin. I completely disagree with that. Michigan got absolutely robbed. Michigan should be number 9. Wisconsin has absolutely no defense. If you watch a Wisconsin game, which I don't know why you would, because they're so boring. Why are they boring? Because it's all defensive based. They have no quarterback. They don't have a receiving game because they have no quarterback. They have a little bit of a running game. That's how they get most of their points. But everything that Wisconsin does, Michigan does better than them. To me, it makes absolutely no sense, especially what Harbaugh has done to that program. Just turn that program, that college football program around, just wanting players not to go to Ohio State. Because before, a lot of players would rather go to Ohio State or Penn State. Now, top recruits want to go to Michigan. I think that absolutely deserves Michigan to not only be in the top 10, but to take Wisconsin's spot. And Wisconsin, I have at 11. Number 10, I have Oklahoma State. Rudolph, I'm a huge fan of Rudolph. I think Oklahoma State, when all said is done with that receiving core they have, I think they will go down as the best offense in college football. Savvy saying that. Running back over my top 10 teams, my top 10 AP preseason list. I have Bama number 1, of course, Ohio State, USC, Penn State, Florida State, Clemson, Oklahoma, Washington, Michigan, and Oklahoma State. Those are my top 10 teams. I am David Grace with the Grace to Catch YouTube channel. I am signing out, and take it easy.